Welcome to the show, Dr. Mike.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thanks for having me. I love watching the show, and it's a true honor to be here. And I think there's a lot for us to talk about in terms of how what we both do correlate to making people sleep better at night.
And it's very important, and that's one of the reasons, people say, well, you're a real estate podcast, why would you have a naturopathic doctor to come on the show? And I want people to understand that success comes in many different forms, and it's not just monetary. It's also mental health is a huge component, being very strong within the mind, physically being alert of everyday habits that you are going to do to help give your body the nutrition it needs so that you can deal with the daily stresses that real estate's going to provide you, and many other industries within the market that will provide you every single day. So making sure that you're strong, mentally and physically are very, very key components. And I know you do a wonderful job taking care of me. And that's one of the big reasons why I want to have you on the show, and we can talk about those things.
I think it's important, just to interject. I think what you just said was huge. First of all, we start thinking about, this is we talk about what I hear on this show is a lot about how to make better decisions, so that in the end, wealth is the ultimate outcome. But one most important aspect is, can you have one without the other? Can you have wealth without health? And what is true wealth, right? What is true wealth? And health is wealth.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So, and I think that's how it ties into this whole idea of, having a portfolio, doing well with yourself, and then saying, okay, well, how can you enjoy this now? And what's the next steps? And how do we get most of these patients really healthy? And what are the things that they can do in terms of their life to get better at expanding their portfolio, expanding their real estate portfolio, but also getting themselves healthy so that they can go forward in life and enjoy everything that they've done and worked so hard for.
Your body is real estate. You have to invest in it.
I love it.
And it is a component.
I love that you just said that.
No,
I absolutely love that you just said that. That was probably the best thing. I hope that goes on Instagram and people hear that like a million times.
Yes.
That is amazing that you just said that.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great little slogan. Maybe we can start using. But
I love it. Our body is real estate. And
right.
On that notion, let's talk about this point since we're here. A lot of patients come in to my office, and the first thing I ask the majority of people that come in, is I say, "What's your biggest asset?" I ask them that question. I say, "What's your biggest asset?" And most of the men, of course, they come in and they start calculating. They look up. They're like, and they start thinking, oh, I have it. It's that building that I have on Davenport, and it's like, okay, how much is it worth? And they start thinking, okay, it's about $100 million or $50 million, whatever the amount is.
Yeah, whatever that value is. Yeah.
They'll say X amount of dollars on that big real estate that they made the move 30 years ago. It's on the corner. It's going to develop into condos, whatever it be. It's that one move that they made that made them tremendously successful, and it's great. So they think of the number. And I said, that's your biggest asset? Okay, so then I ask them, how much are you worth? How much are you worth? Because, their biggest asset, they're telling me, is something in real estate.
It's tangible.
It's tangible. It's something monetary. And, before I tell them that they're wrong, I ask them, okay, so how much are you worth? How much are you actually worth? And they actually think of a number. Most guys, this is what they do, right? Because they want to, it's in our human nature. It's a testosterone. We want to flex. It's like, I'm worth about, 100, 250 million, whatever it is.
Right.
And you think of a number and it's like, okay, wrong. Yeah. Your biggest asset is you. You are your biggest asset. We are our biggest asset. And then the second answer to the question, when you actually put a monetary value to it, you're wrong. Because you're saying that it's something, because how much are you worth? The answer is priceless. And the reason why we get to this point is we start thinking about, okay, look, put yourself in a situation, unfortunately, when we're in a state of not being well, how much would people transform all that monetary wealth into getting themselves better? And the answer to that question is they'll cash it all in.
It's unlimited.
They'll cash it all in to get them better.
Yeah.
So why not get it from the get-go? Why not do it straight right from the get-go? Because at the end of the day, and I'll never forget, I heard an amazing quote by somebody really good. Denzel Washington said this, and he said it so well. You know what he said? He said, first of all, he said everything comes with gratitude, success, because he's very successful, and he's very spiritual, and he believes in God, and he's very, and he
One of
says,
my favorite actors.
Yeah, and he's very spiritual, and everything he says is about gratitude, and I think we all got to be grateful for everything we have. Number one. Number two, he says, when the hearse is driving along, you don't have a U-Haul truck behind it. So everything we have, everything we've developed, everything we made until this particular point, we can't take with us. So then again, it goes back. What's your biggest asset? And it's us. It's our bodies. Why? We want to be here long to enjoy. We want to see our grandkids. We want to watch our kids get married, succeed. And we don't want to see the struggle, and we want to be there. And financially, to have that success, there's a whole paradigm that's affiliated with that. And part of that is being healthy. Mm-hmm. You want to be healthy, but you want to also be wealthy. And together, I think it's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's great. And I think this is the time of year where people start looking to address those certain health issues that they have within their life. Whether it wanting to lose weight and going on a nutritional program. Mental health is a big issue that we're facing today, especially with the impact of COVID and what we've seen through that. We're seeing divorce cases on a rise. Heart disease is becoming a really big issue currently today within the market. Stress is a really, really big indicator and factor, especially with interest rates, markets, and balancing everything. Things just move at a rapid pace and it's constant. We're business owners ourselves, but I look to have that balance within my life, or I try to have that balance as much as I can within my life, and I'm sure you do as well. So how does the mind-body connection play a role in the overall mental health? How can individuals leverage this connection to enhance their focus and their resilience, if that's what they're looking for, moving into 2024?
I think, first of all, some really good points. And yes, I think balance is key. I mean, you mentioned the point how, not only being business owners, but we're fathers as well. And you want to have that entity. You want to be that father. I think as dads, we want to strive to be the best, not to say, we have great dads, both of us. I know your dad personally. I know you know mine. We have great dads, but we want to strive to be better. And I think that's the key. And that's the key to a lot of success. But moving forward, in terms of understanding the mentality right now and how the mind and body is connected, like we know, the second brain is in the gut. So our gastrointestinal system, which is in our gut, actually contributes to every single thing that happens in our brain. Not to get into too much technical things, because this is not a medical podcast, but I want to really connect and bridge the gap between mental health and digestion. I mean, really importantly, diet and lifestyle is pretty much everything. All right. So we're exposed to about 700,000 chemicals every single day. I don't know if you knew that. That's an outstanding, an astonishing number. And these types of chemicals that come into our body.
And just to make it clear, that's for a non-smoker.
Correct.
A smoker in that equation, that number is rising at a very large.
Significant. That's just a regular Joe, regular person, not including one who could, obviously drinks and consumes alcohol and drugs and everything else that matters. So yeah, that's a good point. But you start thinking about the gut and how is the gut, related to our brain health and our stress? Well, it has everything to do with it. See, if we don't balance our nutrition through the foods that we consume, then our gut is not going to get nourished and fuel. So we're a huge electrical system. This is all electrical impulses. Everything that we do is electrical in our body. And that includes with something that's really important. There's a big sort of extension cord that comes from our brain that actually sits in our gut. It's called the vagus nerve. And this vagus nerve actually has inflammation. And if there's inflammation in our intestinal tract, it's going to cause inflammation into our brain. And that inflammation into our brain is going to make us, unfortunately, make irrational decisions. And that's going to give rise to a lot of things like depression, mental health, and mental illnesses. And you and I both know during things like COVID, there was a lot of people that were eating a lot of junk food because guess what? That was the only thing that was pretty much open. And what does that do to a society? How does that make individuals healthy? And how does that strengthen someone's immune system? Well, in fact, it doesn't. It's going to lower your immune system. It's going to lower your thought processes. It's going to lower your decision making, and it's definitely going to make you feel down. So eating a really balanced, healthy diet. I stay away from processed foods. I tell a lot of my patients to really contribute to consuming more organic, biodynamic foods. I think it's really important. And, taking a really good probiotic is something you can really help your gut flora. And believe it or not, when patients come into my office and say, hey, I got anxiety, and the first thing I'm doing is I'm helping their gut, they're like, but I told you that I'm having problems with...
They think it's their brain.
I'm just like, well, your gut is your second brain. The reason why you're experiencing this is because you're actually not eating well, and now I have to go in there and actually fix your gut and help beneficial bacteria get there so that your body actually feels and runs optimally.
You must see this all the time. It's quite often that people come into your office and they're dealing with a lot of those issues. One of the issues I think on a personal note that I face is sleep. And there's a lot of times where my mind, being in business and constantly to get to the level I was in my real estate career, my best thoughts came at night. And, I had to get to the point where I had a notepad on the side of my bed with a pen ready, because when my mind starts to race about new ideas of what I want to introduce to the real estate market or what I have to do for the next day, being, very busy and always, working within my schedule, it was hard for me to really just shut down my body. Right. And I think sleep is a crucial for cognitive function for sure, and productivity. What are some of the tips that you can offer for those that want to optimize their sleep quality, like myself, and especially for real estate professionals in my industry who might be, have irregular schedules and they're not being able to, work on, making sure that they're in bed by a certain time, because sometimes at night I'm dealing with offers that are late at night. How can somebody within my industry as well get help for that?
I think that's an awesome connection and comment that you're making. I think it's really important, and it happens to the best of the best. So the fact that obviously it's happening to you is such a good thing, because it means that, as business owners, as men, we strive for success. We strive to do better. And I want to make some references to some key younger billionaires in society. We're going to talk about Elon Musk, and we're going to talk about Jeff Bezos. So first of all, Jeff Bezos, how he grew to become, the richest man in the world. And now this is obviously Elon Musk has surpassed him. But prior to 4 or 5 years ago, he was sitting at the top. And we start thinking about how they're actually explaining to us how they got there. And it was no sleep. I mean, these guys were on 3 to 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah. And I remember early on in my business, I was like that too as well. I was just wanting to just push and hustle all the time.
Yeah. And so you think of them now, and you look at them now, and you hear them in interviews now, and now it's so interesting because Jeff Bezos needs 8 hours of sleep, and Elon Musk now, because he used to do everything at night, because he's a dad as well, like us, successful, a father, so he wants to be there for his children. So his idea was he only got his work done at night. So this man was staying up till 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and then he was having 2, 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But in terms of longevity and in terms of sustainability, how sustainable is that?
Tough, very tough.
Exactly.
You're never going to get the sleep. You're going to be sleep deprived for sure.
You're going to be sleep deprived.
Yeah, and I know when a lot of times when my mind's racing, sometimes I'm looking at the clock, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and I got to wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's kind of more on my schedule. I'm a real estate agent. I don't get to the office till about 10 o'clock every day, but I like to get up, start my day, do my exercise, get the kids
healthy,
ready for school, have
a nice
good.
Healthy breakfast.
I do a meditation at times within the morning. My wife is pretty keen on that as well. But when I'm up and I'm wired and I'm thinking until 2 o'clock in the morning and my brain is racing, it's going to be tough for me to get up at that time.
Shut down.
Right? Yeah, to shut down.
So I'm going to say, in terms of tips, because I think this is what we want to talk about. First of all, I think we want to set goals for ourselves. I mean, yes, in the short term, when you have to get things done, unfortunately, you're going to have to burn the midnight oil. We've all been there. I mean, my medical school, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't stay up till 3, 4 in the morning and just studying, and even cases and patients. I mean, we've all done it. Is that sustainable? Is that something that we can contain to continue optimal in terms of getting and achieving optimal health?
Right.
This is what we want to try to achieve by doing it without burning out and taking our kids to, extracurricular, spending time and having date nights with our wives, and then also having the mix with businesses, because at the end of the day, we want to stay married. We want to continue to be fathers, and we want to have a successful, businesses. And so the idea is that, you want to put time in. You want to put time in to get down. And the downtime is the most important. So you want to have that downtime so you can think. A. B. Put sort of things in your life that are going to allow you to relax and unwind. In the busy sort of circumstances, and especially in my profession, it's really challenging because sometimes I have a lot of difficult and challenging cases that, I take it home and I try not to, but unfortunately I'm still thinking and researching about these particular cases. And then it brings me to say, okay, how do I shut this down? So meditation is huge, huge. So yoga, I love it. I think meditation is tremendous. Working out is wonderful. Sometimes if you do it too late at night, though, it'll stimulate things like cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and that'll actually give rise to maybe worsening of sleep. So be careful with that. But ultimately, you want to know where your hormones are at. I think this is the key. You want to know, as men, we want to know where our testosterone's at. We want to know where our hormones are, what they are doing specifically, because we want to keep those hormones nice and high, because that's going to keep us sharp. It's going to keep us on the go, and it's going to keep us, what brought us here to begin with in terms of success and allowing us to continually to be there and pretty much everywhere when you're a dad, when you're a husband, when you're a business owner. So, and then, I love the meditation, but taking really interesting and wonderful supplements are key as well. Yeah. And I think this is where you were getting to. So I love lemon balm. I think that's a really good one. And passion flower are really good.
Never heard of those.
Yeah. Passion flower is really good. It sort of calms the body. These are herbal supplements. I mean, talk to your doctor, of course, before taking any of this kind of stuff, but you can get them at local health food stores. It really just allows the body to calm itself down so that it can get you ready to rest up. And then I think another big tip is you want to keep that phone away from your face right before bed. There's not a lot of people that understand this concept.
Yeah, and I think I'm guilty of it myself, just because I use it as my alarm clock a lot of the times if I need the alarm clock to get me up in the morning. And that's my guilt pleasure for sure. But sometimes I totally agree with not having it there.
How many times have you just went on your phone so much that you're so tired that you literally just throw your phone there and you just basically fall asleep from being like overwhelmed because it's
I had to train myself for sure not to do that. But then I got into a bad habit of watching TV. And that was a big problem too, as well, because then you're
getting stimulated. Yeah, and you're watching like an action movie, and you're watching like Die Hard. You're watching like Die Hard because it's one of the best Christmas movies, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you're watching it, and you're just seeing Bruce Willis, get in there, and you're just turning TV off. Okay,
like now you don't want to shut it down. It's 12 o'clock at night.
You're never going to sleep.
You're never going to bed. Exactly, right? My wife, I know you got my wife a lot on magnesium. What's your opinion on that?
So magnesium is wonderful. It's an all around, it's one of the most amazing minerals, and it's a miracle. In fact, it's a miracle mineral. And it's been around, obviously. It's something that we're all deficient in. All of us, we're all deficient in magnesium, whether we like it or not. It's minerals. It's good for our bones. It's good for our joints. Magnesium, for certain individuals, it's really good. It's really good for bowel movements, but you want to really be careful and look at the different types of magnesium, because different magnesiums have different roles in the body. So magnesium, you've heard about it. There's a whole book on this. It's called Miracles of Magnesium. So magnesium is really good for blood pressure. It's really good for anxiety. It's really good for resting the body, muscle aches, pain, spasm, detoxification. It's good for blood sugar regulation. It's good for arrhythmia and heart. There's many different things that it's good for.
So you highly recommend it, I guess.
I would highly recommend magnesium, but be careful with the magnesium. So you want to get So it depends on what you need it for. So if you want a magnesium for your gut, because maybe you're having a little bit of a constipation issue, maybe you're not going to the bathroom as regular. As we get older, this is what happens to us. Us old men, this is what happens. We get a little sluggish in our bowels. Yeah. A magnesium citrate will go right through you. So if I give you a magnesium right now, within 15, 20 minutes, you're going to need the bathroom. So you want to have that magnesium bound to an amino acid. So this is what you heard and what you see of a magnesium bisglycinate or when it's bound by a glycine amino acid. This gets into the bloodstream and it's more cognitive and more cardiovascular related. So it'll get into the cells and help where you need it. So I love magnesium, but it's not, it definitely is a one fix all, mineral. We all need it and it's good, but you can't think that, I'm going to take magnesium now, I'm going to go to sleep, but it will relax you and it'll put you into a really good state.
Can you express a little bit and just talk a little bit about omega-3s and why they're so important for everybody to be taking daily?
So omega-3 fats are extremely important for the body, and especially reductions in cardiovascular disease. So you have a lot of, so definitely prevention even in blood sugar dysregulation. So good for the heart, good for blood sugar, definitely good for the brain. You have EPA and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, icosapentaenoic acid. I don't expect you to know that.
No.
And I won't quiz you after this. So the EPA and DHA, which is rich in fish and omega-3s, are really good for the brain and cognition, because we talk about things like depression, anxiety, extremely, extremely important. But again, tying into, somebody's real estate portfolio, I see a lot of older gentlemen that are really successful, but they have a high risk of having heart disease, and if you take an omega-3 from fish oil, if you just take a supplement, you reduce your risks of developing a heart attack by about 50%.
Wow, that's a lot of information, and I hope all the viewers are gonna really enjoy all the health benefits that you're gonna get just by making these simple changes within your life, moving into 2024. I know that myself, one of the biggest components for myself today is making sure that my mental game is strong all around, because, when I'm good, I feel everybody else around me is good, right? If I'm not doing well, my kids are not doing well, my wife's not doing well, and it just becomes one of those broken circles. We're really watching the fact of what we're putting there, giving to the kids as well. Even this, gluten intolerance is becoming major issues, and it's a personal thing that I'm dealing with within my family. One of my family members that are dealing with, I didn't realize that how going on a gluten-free diet is really important, and the science behind going on a gluten-free diet, and specifically what gluten can do to a body that is almost allergic to gluten. In a sense, if I'm saying that correctly in any way, but maybe if you want to kind of, talk a little bit about gluten in any way possible.
So it's very interesting. I love this. I think about 30 years ago, a big study came out, and they started telling people, cut out butter, cut out fats. And we now know that it's, everybody, it was all wrong, because we now know that it wasn't what was between the toast. It was the actual toast itself.
Wow. That's a really good point.
So
that's a really good point.
We know that the butter, and a lot of people strive to get good quality butter, grass-fed butter. It's very good for you. It's healthy. It's healing. But if you think about what the grains have done to society, unfortunately, now this just stems back to 30 years ago. We have problems with our wheat. Our wheat is not the same wheat that it was back in the day.
Very true.
So the wheat is dwarfed. It's cut, because wheat used to be really tall. So they dwarf it. So now it's cut. So because they want to, picture you're the farmer, or picture you're the land owner, and now you're renting it, and you're the farmer, and you're there, and you're like, I got to grow this crop 3 times a year. I'm not going to make any money. So I have to dwarf it. I'm going to put the quick wheat that turns over really quickly. I'm going to grow it, send it to, and now
keep
I can
cutting it, let it grow more, cut it again.
I don't have to own 400 acres. I can just have my 100 acres and just put the wheat and just keep cropping it and cutting it, and we're good to go. Unfortunately, that wheat is not the same. That wheat has been hybridized. It's been changed. That wheat now grows quicker in harsher conditions with no water, and it grows where pesticides are there, so it won't bite it. So if a little small animal goes onto that wheat, it's going to die. That's not normal.
No.
That's not normal.
Yeah.
And so this wheat is not the same wheat that it was 30 and 40 years ago. And certain countries, Italy being one of them, have banned the genetically modification of wheat, and really want to try to keep the true
purity of it,
pure wheat, which is different. And I hear a lot of patients tell me when they travel to, and you've been to,
I was there this week, and it's incredible when I'm in Italy and I order a pizza or I'm having a plate of pasta, I'm not feeling like
Is your stomach out to here?
No, but I have that same pasta here at a restaurant. I'm feeling sluggish. I'm seeing mental fogness happening. You know what I mean? I need to go to bed right after. I wasn't feeling that when I was in Europe.
Yeah. And you know what? Being in tune with your body, and I love that about you, Nick, because you are in tune with yourself.
I try to be the best. I'm not 100%, but I do want to get better at it. It's something that mentally I'm looking to. 2024 is a very big year for myself, making a health awareness to myself, to understand that my body is real estate. And that is the biggest important investment that I should be making, is within myself. Because if I make myself better, everything around me is going to be better. And then all my success within real estate will only grow from there. And one of the reasons why I looked into that camera, because I think it's just important. I want people to understand that there's so much truth to that. Because for me, it was always about the next deal first. It was always about where I was going to make, what client can I call, working late hours at night. And I realized later on within my life that my true success is not about my real estate game. It's not about being the number one real estate agent. It's not about, making sure that I hit these certain numbers every single year. I just leave that up to the universe now and allow that gravity to just pull itself right back in and not really focus on that. And what I focus in on for my mental well-being is joy and happiness. Every day I wake up, and like you started the show, is the gratitude that you're going to have within life. Just the fact that we're able to breathe are very important blessings that we get, right? And everything else will manage itself. It'll find a way if you truly believe it does. And I do believe in visualization and making sure that you vision boards are very critical to me, and having those with my children are important, because I want them to realize the big benefits of what they're able to visualize and what they want within life. That you just got to dream big, and if you dream big enough, those things will come to you. And I think those are very integral parts of anybody's mindset, and mental strength is a really big component and a key to success itself. As real estate agents, we are in a very high stress industry. People don't realize it. People think it's easy money. They watch us on HGTV and glamorous luxury homes. And you've known me for a very long time. We've been friends for quite a bit. You've been taking care of myself and my family for many years. But what are some of the natural or practical stress management techniques that professionals can incorporate into their daily routines, just so that they can maintain a healthy mental state within themselves?
I think the biggest, first of all, I love what you said about affirmations and putting it out there and making sort of, saying that, 2024 is going to be like, we need to do more of this. Yes. Because as humans, we're creatures of habits, and we really want to make these affirmations and put them out there into the universe. And it does make a point to say, I want to be healthy. I want to be healthier. Define being rich. I want to be, what's that mean? Right? What does that mean? That means I want to be healthy. That means I want my kids to be, I want to help the whole family. And you even said it, which, I like what you said. It's very important how, if we're off, then, the whole environment is sort of off. I beg to differ. I like to take care of my wife, because if she's off, then everything. just kidding. But that was a good point. Shout out to my wife, though. I got to take care of her as well. Yeah. So, but the truth is, in terms of the profession and professionals itself, I see a lot of real estate agents, as you know, and the number one problem with real estate agents is the diet. Right? They can't conform to a specific diet. Excellent. Yep. They're really they're on the go a lot. And so I've worked with hundreds of real estate agents. I work with thousands of people. So I'm just putting it out there in terms of real estate agents, because I know you and I've seen quite a bit. And so in terms of the diet, they can't conform to one diet. I think the only thing they can ever conform to is breakfast, because they're out the house, but they're not back till 10 o'clock sometimes. And And then so it's all, and it's like you're going to an open house, or you're just like, now you're getting food that you can eat to just put at the open house. And then what is that? And is that coffee and donuts, or we're going to eat at drive-throughs? And it's like, now we have to make some really good choices. So what I'm going to say to all of the real estate agents out there is, you really want to put time into you. So I love what you do, Nick, because, first thing in the morning, Nick's doing a workout, he's doing a sauna or a steam, and he's really crushing it, and he's having a really nutritious breakfast. But he's really cognizant, because I've actually peeked in on him, because I have the amazing, obviously ability to be right next door to you. So I've actually popped into your office, and I've actually looked through the window, and I'm seeing this man, and he's eating a nice, healthy, organic salad, and with some protein on top. So I actually know he's actually making the right steps. But for some of our listeners,
I had to stop going for lunch. Not one, it was just lunches were taking an hour and a half, and it was taking up way too much of my day. But the second thing was I just didn't feel good eating it.
The nutrition, the aspect. And it's like, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are your choices? So then when I ask and it's hard, because you might be in a different city.
Yeah.
At lunch, you might be in a different city. You might be in King City today. You're in Toronto tomorrow. You're probably in Beaton, Ontario the day after. And so it's like, what do you get? And so we got to make some decisions. So all I say to all of my patients who are professionals to that extent, that are always on the go, because it could be any kind of professional, is that you want to really pack your lunch. Pack your lunch, really think and plan ahead. And planning ahead, which you do, and I think is a really good way for us to get healthier.
I love about what come into your clinic is the IV therapy that you put me on weekly, which I think I find it's been a tremendous help for myself. Sometimes I need a little bit more energy, or I need a nice little detox from it, and I find that there's so many different benefits from it. Do you want to explain a little bit about IV therapy and what it's for and who it's for?
Absolutely. So intravenous vitamin therapy, first of all, it's not for everybody. Some people don't like needles, but intravenous vitamin therapy. So after we do full blood work and we find out deficiencies, and we look at things like your urine test and blood work and do a full case history, then we go on to say, okay, what nutritional deficiencies are there? How can we help support this individual to help them? So maybe we'll look at their B12, maybe we'll check out their vitamin D, and we'll look at nutritional deficiencies, and we can say, how do we optimize this and allow this individual to reap the benefits of an intravenous vitamin therapy? But most importantly, detoxification is the key. I know we started this podcast today about how many chemicals we're exposed to on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And that's not to mention, of course, when you're out there and you're eating a lot of fast food, a lot of processed foods. So detoxification is key and facilitating that. So that's what the IV does. And that's the benefit about having intravenous vitamin therapy, because you bypass the digestive tract. You bypass the digestive tract, which unfortunately in a lot of us are broken, hence why this mind-body connection. So we bypass it by going right into the venous system, and we inject you with key nutrients and vitamins. And I think one of the big thing is what kind of vitamins? Well, A, you have to make sure they're preservative-free. B, you want to make sure that these vitamins are in the active forms, so they're not going to create toxicities. And then C, just where do you get the sources and where? A lot of people are doing and talking about vitamin C intravenous, and then a lot of people are saying that, some of this is from genetically modified corn and the vitamin C for corn. So we don't use those. So just really understand where your sources are. Understand where you're getting, where the people are getting these sources and the IVs. I really like IV therapy. I do it personally. I know you do as well, but you want to know what's going into your veins. You just don't, blindfold yourself and say, I trust this doctor. I think it's all good. Even the doctors, you'd be surprised, they're going out to a pharmacy and they're ordering the vitamins, but they actually don't know where the source is coming from. And then you'll ask some of these individuals to say, did you know that the source of your vitamin C is from genetically modified corn? And they're like, what? Like what? I got corn source vitamin C? Oh my God, I don't want that. We just talked about what genetically modification is, and we talked about the contaminants that are potentially in there. So we definitely don't want those in our veins. So for sure. So having that into your veins and your venous system, you want to make sure it's superior. So I think that's what the key is.
Do you feel the foods today that we are ingesting within society right now are the biggest and major causes of diseases?
That's a powerful question, and I'm going to answer yes. I'm going to say, unfortunately, there's a lot of us in society that are being, so like, it's not that we're being tricked, because there's a trick, but we're not being tricked, but there's a little deceit there. I'm just not telling you the whole truth. I'm not really going to tell you the whole truth. I'm just going to say it's organic, and that's all you need to know.
Right.
And I'm going to give you an example. You mentioned it, gluten-free. Everybody wants to go on this gluten-free kick. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that, and you have to be careful, because there are people that have been on a gluten-free diet, Nick. They're on a gluten-free diet, and they're actually more toxic than they were before they were on the gluten-rich diet. So you got to be really careful, because gluten-free doesn't mean you're healthy. And if you see some of the gluten-free products, and gluten-free is a trend, gluten-free right now, it's the big, if you come out with a product gluten-free, you're already going to make $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. Just gluten-free and just 100% gluten-free or whatever it is and you're just going to do well with it. But because that's marketing. So marketing and has jumped on the gluten-free bandwagon, but it does not mean healthy. And if you look at the ingredients in a gluten-free pretzel, for example, there's like 50 ingredients. Some of them are hydrogenated oils, canola oil, corn, genetically modified. And so it's like, oh my God, I'm better off eating the genetically modified wheat, albeit it's going to hurt you, but it's not going to hurt you as much as this.
Right.
So we got to be really careful with just jumping on bandwagons and saying gluten-free. So that's number one. Number two, it's our animals in our feed. What are they feeding the animals? What are they feeding our chickens? What are we feeding our children? So it's no longer like, I think the idea and the approach is we are what we eat. We are what we eat, right? This is the idea. Yeah. It's no longer that approach. That's actually wrong. It's we are what we eat that have eaten. So that animal, it's what that animal eats that's actually important to what's going on with us.
Right.
And this is why I always support local farmers that really do regenerative farming. I think regenerative farming, biodynamic farming is huge. These are the farmers we need to support, because grass-fed and grass-finished beef is real, and that's good meat. We start talking about heart disease.
You taste the difference in it.
It's a huge
100%. When I eat it, it's a totally different experience. Yeah,
and if you look at them and you put them side by side, the fat profiles are completely different. You have way more omega-3 fats in meat, and we thought that we can never get it. We thought most likely it would be omega-6, which is more inflammatory. And we thought heart disease, we think cholesterol. But if we get the right meat, if we get the right chickens that are fed, not fed genetically modified corn, not fed soy, and we get the right eggs, we're not going to have a problem with things like cholesterol, and we don't have to take these medications that are going to have side effects on our body. So food for thought.
That's a very powerful answer to a very powerful question. Great job on expressing that and stating it. I think we're getting into pretty much the end of the show. And by the time we air this show, it'll either probably be closer to New Year's, where we're going to launch this. And I think this is going to be perfect for everybody who wants to make those yearly New Year's resolutions. Outcomes. Yeah. So if somebody's going to be looking for some nutritional diet plans for weight loss programs, I know that you've done one with me, and it worked phenomenal. I think on your program I lost about 40 pounds when I was in my heydays. Now I'm back up again, but again my New Year's resolution is going to be all about taking care of my body even more, and those are the things I do want to focus in on. So by the time we air it, it's going to be a perfect time frame. And I think it's going to be at a time frame where everybody's going to want to hear about this. I want you to do me a favor, though. I want you to look into that camera, because we're definitely going to use this point, and I want you to explain to people how we're going to use the slogan right now. I want you to say that your body is real estate, and kind of we're going to end the show on that note.
Your body is not only your biggest asset, it's your best piece of real estate. And just like any piece of real estate that you want to grow to fruition and you want it to be the best piece, like you're going to invest in it, you want to actually get that ROI, that return on investment, and that's your body. So really eat well, work out, and do the best you possibly can do to put everything you can into your body's number one sort of resource, and that's everything that you can eat nutritionally, dietarily, and really put in all the emphasis you possibly can to make it absolutely number one.
Make 2024 your biggest year ever. And success is not about monetary, how much money you have. And success is not about you being the most best looking at the gym with the most muscles. Success truly comes from your mind and how tough you are mentally as well. So get your mind intact. Everything else around you is going to be awesome. Dr. Mike, thanks for coming on the show. This was awesome.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Nick.
Thank you.